There you go. This session is recorded, and yes, you will get a copy of the presentation as well. So one of the upcoming days, someone from the team will send you a copy of the presentation, and the recording will be available as well. So in there, you will find my email address. My phone number is also at the end of the presentation. So if you have any questions on HPE and SimpliVity and Nimble and on all the things that we are going to talk about, hey, feel free to contact me. You know where to find me through the email address or through my social media. So very good. I already see, yeah, the number keeps on going up. Very good. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Now let's get started, because there are so many things to say about the HCI hyperconverged portfolio from HPE. Now, to get started, by the way, for those who attended my previous sessions, when was it, in January and then in November last year and so on, because we organize these sessions quite regularly. But now definitely there is a lot of update information for you that we're going to share about both products. Okay, because we have two products, and first I get a lot of questions about, yeah, which one do I need to pick? Because if I take a look at SimpliVity at one side and then Nimble dHCI, disaggregated HCI, you will see a lot of similarities. If you take a look at the presentation of both products, you will see this slide. Okay. I'm not going to go in here, but we see indeed the complexity of an infrastructure with the multiple layers of compute and storage and networking and so on. We need to manage this multiple management tools that will be solved with HCI. Lower cost, because we're going to put everything all together. The overall cost, total cost of ownership of an HCI solution is lower. There is time pressure. We have that firefighting to find issues, the root cause analysis, which can be challenging as well. So, but both solutions will help you with this. And this is why I just want to highlight, because I want to put the most of the time, of course, in the updates of what is changed or what is new in the last months in the HCI world. But I want to show you really quickly what are the minor differences that makes you the ideal fit to go to SimpliVity or to go to dHCI. So SimpliVity is more put in the edge, and the edge is outside your data center. Now let it be clear, the edge for the US is something else as the edge here in Belgium and in Europe, right? So I have a lot of customers here, even in their data center, we have SimpliVity in there, but we're talking up to a certain amount of compute, a certain amount of capacity. And then once we go beyond those tens or hundreds of terabytes, then indeed I admit that the HCI will be better. And this is why as well, if we talk together to find the solution for your customer, what do I need to take? Well, if you're not sure, well, just call me and we'll find the best solution. But so SimpliVity, it's simple to manage. That's HCI, of course. It is efficient. So SimpliVity is very lot playing on that efficiency. It's because of the data virtualization platform, yeah, the object storage that is being used in the background. And so it's optimized for the edge. Definitely, if we have customers with multiple sites, well, at that moment, SimpliVity definitely is the solution to go, because what we can do is we can make backups of VMs every 10 minutes. We make a backup of a VM. It's not mandatory, but you can do that. And then you can restore it as well. Really quickly, within a minute, I can restore your file server, for instance, from 10 minutes ago, which is a good story when we're talking about RTO, RPO, the ransomwares of these days. So data protection is very important inside SimpliVity. And so this is where we have a really good story. These are the use cases that we show to the customers. We give demos because we have SimpliVity in our environment. If you want to organize a demo, hey, just call me. I do multiple of them every week. So, and if we do the demo to the customer is convinced. Now, if we take a look at Nimble dHCI, disaggregated HCI, well, this is a dHCI solution. So you will see that disaggregation between storage and compute, because with SimpliVity, the storage is inside the compute, while with dHCI, this is on purpose that we keep storage separate from the compute. Management wise, it's simple, it is intelligent, InfoSight is there. We have one console vCenter that can manage your compute and your storage. But on the scalability side, if the customer says, I need a lot of storage, or I want to grow my compute independently of storage, well, then you will see that with dHCI, we have more flexibility in there. Okay. Also, you know, Nimble, Nimble is playing on that 99.9999, 6 nines of availability, that resiliency, that availability, measured availability. Well, with SimpliVity, you can get 6 nines of availability. But with Nimble, you can prove it, because we have the numbers from InfoSight from the last 10 years that with Nimble, we can guarantee those 6 nines of availability. With SimpliVity, it's possible, but it's not measured yet, because we only have 1.5 years, something like that, that we have InfoSight in there. So that's coming. Okay, with Nimble, you can, with dHCI, we can give more guarantees. Now, there you go. This is back again, a slide from SimpliVity. So SimpliVity is indeed playing on those cost savings, because we're putting storage and compute inside each other. Okay, it's one node or a set of multiple nodes in a cluster for resiliency, but we have a node with compute and storage, and so we have those cost savings. Like I said, data protection with SimpliVity, we can have that every 10 minutes, every 20 minutes, whatever. It's so easy to manage, to set it up, but we can restore that 1 terabyte, and believe me, a 2 terabyte and a 3 terabyte VM is also in less than a minute that it is being restored. Okay, and it's easy to manage, because it's a plugin inside vCenter, and it's 3 clicks. Okay, right click and then 2 clicks, and you can do everything: create a data store, backup, restore, move VMs, and migrate, upgrade, and so on and so on. If we take a look at dHCI back again, well, you will see also there that we're playing on the performance, that it's going really fast, not up to the VM level that we're going to make a backup and a restore. That's on volume, on data store level. So there we will need faster a third-party data protection application, but we're playing more the role. We see that role for the more business critical applications, the really big applications in the bigger enterprises as well. Of course, also there we see better economics. Not really on the hardware initially, but then definitely as well on the management afterwards. So as you can see, it's the same story, but there are a few minor changes in there that will make you decide, I'll go this way or I'll go that way. And so far, yes, I can't say that SimpliVity is better or faster or whatever. I see SimpliVity customers, I see dHCI customers, and definitely keep on following the vision of HPE as well, because the only thing that I can say is that today inside the HPE big team of storage, recently the SimpliVity team and the Nimble team and the entire storage team, by the way, they're all put together. They're one big company and development team today. So I expect that over time that there will be more and more integrations across these platforms. But that's of course for the future. So we have to wait for that. Already a lot of exciting announcements here, but I am confident that also in the near future that there will be even more announcements coming on there. Now, of course, last one here, this is a slide from SimpliVity back again. So they're playing on that all-in-one system, compute, storage, all together. We have that global unified management, one-click upgrades. honestly, you need to do 4 clicks, but anyway, it's going there with the newer versions. We're going to talk about that anyway in this presentation. But so we have those 1-click upgrades that makes the life easier to update. And this is possible today already, technically with 4 clicks. You can find it on my blog, by the way. I have an article on my blog, bitcon.be and hpepedia.com, where I show you what you need to do to upgrade a SimpliVity stack. Okay, so we have one tool, Upgrade Manager. I have a picture about that later in the presentation. So that you will update, and that's the whole idea about 1-click upgrade, by the way, is the idea that in the tool, you can update the SimpliVity software, the ESXi, and the firmware of your compute or your SimpliVity nodes, all with one tool. And today, I admit, in the ideal world, today it's already possible. I know in the past, if you're really coming from an old version, coming to a newer version, I admit that there are some steps to do. Now with the update to VMware 7, I know that that's not because of SimpliVity, that's because of VMware. You first have to do the SimpliVity software, then you got to get out of the tool. You have to update vCenter first, because you have to update vCenter first before you can update the ESXi. By the way, that will be another session. Okay, so we're planning upcoming sessions in the upcoming months about life cycle management of a SimpliVity solution. And like I said, this specific article will be active published this week on my blog. So you will see on my social media as well more information about this, how it is becoming better. It's not perfect yet, but I see a lot of improvement there. Yeah. Tuning intelligence with InfoSight. Yes, it's there. Also the downtime refresh cycles. I have a 4-node cluster. Technically, it's a 2+2, but I have 2 clusters with 2 nodes. I was able to update them completely in 2 hours. Okay, with one tool, I could update the 4 nodes in 2 hours from VMware 6.7 to VMware 7, ESXi 7, and then from 4.0.1 up to the latest version 4.1, which we're going to talk about now in this presentation as well. Now, if we take a look at, this is back again dHCI, because I do this on purpose, guys. I just put a few slides in here to show you how it is similar and how it is different, but also there with dHCI, and this is the proof that they put the team together. Yeah, they put the development team together. So they say as well that we're going, and we can show it with Nimble, we can show it already that there is that 1-click upgrade. I have some screenshots as well in the presentation, but also there, it's got to be simple to deploy in 15 minutes, 1.5, from the racking up to the production, that the data is on that system. Yeah, it's simple to manage, it's easy to support, it's easy to protect. Also there, I have more slides about it. So as you can see, we see a lot of similarities, but it's a few minor details that are a little different, and definitely as well simple to upgrade. I put the slides in here as well. By the way, this is then the final picture on SimpliVity, because this is from the SimpliVity deck again. We put all in one, so storage is inside the compute, while with Nimble dHCI, you can see that the storage and the compute is disaggregated. That's why it's called dHCI. But also there, you can see that you have a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more on the scalability. It's a little bit easier to reuse your existing ProLiant servers. There are some things that you need to know. It's got to be Gen 9 or Gen 10, but it has a little bit more flexibility. If you're still not sure, hey, contact me. Please let me know. I will tell you all the gotchas on Seismic, hpe.seismic.com, also through the partner portal. There are plenty of presentations. I can show you hundreds of slides about SimpliVity and about dHCI, and we can give the demos as well. Oh yeah, by the way, if I didn't mention it yet, but I told you, InfoSight is everywhere. So also on Nimble storage, of course, it's there, but also on SimpliVity, InfoSight is there as well to give you that cross-stack analytics view with the recommendations of how good or how bad that your environment is going. By the way, as you can see, it's almost everywhere on almost all systems. Now, why are we here? Because of course it's an update session. Okay, if you want to know just what is SimpliVity or what is Nimble, well, in the past we organized already a lot of these sessions, introduction sessions on get started with SimpliVity and so on. So I advise that you go to techdataevents.be, and there you will find the recordings to all those previous sessions that we organized in the last years already. Update session about the latest news. So too much, guys. I'm sorry, too much. But good to know that it's not only HPE that says that Nimble dHCI is good. At VMworld at the end of last year, Nimble dHCI got the prize for the best virtualization and cloud solution. So also there, it's not only HPE that says, yeah, this is a good solution, but also it's good to see that other companies are confirming that this is really a good solution to get started. And so to give you an idea about the releases, because this is a picture that I found where you can see the evolution. Well, today this is somewhere from the end of last year. So I expect somewhere now, soon, one day, there will be a new update. But so the last version that I found is that, for instance, this is the typical evolution of Nimble as well. So now they support 25 gigabit, they support more nodes, for instance, also the 325 servers, 385 AMD-based servers, more scalability, and as you can see, there's that enhanced one-click upgrade as well to upgrade that complete stack, that complete dHCI solution. Of course, I'm going to share you some more pictures of the things that you need to know. This is, by the way, the building blocks of a dHCI solution. So it's today, I always get these questions, what about fiber channel? No, not yet. Today, it is an iSCSI solution. But by the way, most of the Nimble solutions deployed, not even dHCI, but also the traditional, let's say, Nimble solutions are iSCSI based. So now we have AMD and Intel, the 300 series, the 500 series with 10 and 25 gigabit networking. There are a lot of switches that are supported, Aruba, FlexFabric, StoreFabric, and in some cases as well, third-party switches as well. That's what we call a brownfield implementation at that moment. But so we have that flexibility, and we have VMware 6.5, 6.7, and 7.0 support. Now, what makes the difference between Nimble and Nimble dHCI? It's that software. So that Nimble array comes together with the dHCI stack setup. That's the setup software. We have the dHCI Stack Manager, which is the manager software, which is an integration within vCenter. And then we have the Stack Upgrade software, which is the tool to do that one-click upgrade, of course. That's the difference between Nimble and Nimble dHCI. And I always get that question, hey, what about the price? No price difference, it's the same. So if you buy a Nimble or a Nimble dHCI, it's the same price. However, it's very important. If you bought a Nimble, it's not possible to make it a Nimble dHCI by adding that software. So that's technically not possible. Okay, so it's from day one, you have to go for dHCI or for Nimble. Okay, so I told you about the upgrade. So that was one of the main features in the last versions being added. So that we have now that stack upgrade software that will upgrade everything what you see in here. Okay, so there's that integration software within vCenter that will be updated, the VI, the VASA, the NCM, the Nimble Connect Manager software. ESXi will be updated, the SPP Service Pack for ProLiant, the firmware of those servers will be updated. Of course, the Nimble OS itself and the vCenter. Okay, and now with the latest videos, because there are already some videos out there that will show you how it works. Okay, In reality, so there you go, it ensures that compatibility, it validates everything for you. So it's not you that have to check, is this supported, that patch with that firmware, with that ESXi? No, everything is taken care of by the dHCI solution, the upgrade software, because these are all the things that it's doing, by the way. And now this looks complex, but these are all the steps that you need to do. But the good thing for you is that the checks are being done by the software. I see a question coming in. Is it like SimpliVity? They have their own SPP pack? Well, yes and no. As such, it is a traditional ProLiant server. So they are using the HPE SPP, but even you don't have to download it because they will take care of it. So there's a connection with the backend, and it will be all taken care of for you. But no, it's not a dedicated SPP, like for instance, with SimpliVity is the case. Now, the one from SimpliVity is also a traditional SPP, but probably if you know SPP, it's a file that has all the firmwares and all the agents and all the drivers for all the DL, ML, BL, whatever, all the servers that exist from HP. So that file is rather big. While also with SimpliVity and also here, we only have DL, we have a select list of servers, which means that they have stripped down that SPP. So that's what happened. Okay, it's just to avoid that you have to download that 5.5 gigabyte of file that you have to download, and 90% of the drivers and the software that is in there, you don't need it anyway. Okay, but here you don't have to take care of it because it's all done by the solution itself. Okay, that's the whole idea. One important thing is that I want to highlight. I know that not everyone has this feature. If you go for the one-click upgrade, yeah, and this is also feedback that I gave to HPE guys. You have to tell this because maybe in the US they have this, but not here in Belgium. Definitely not every customer has VMware licensing, including DRS, Distributed Resource Scheduler. Okay, if you really want that experience with a one-click upgrade, just like your smartphone, I click one button and everything happens automatically. Well, at that moment, the software today, I don't know about the future, but this is the feedback that we gave, guys. Not everyone has DRS, because at that moment, what will happen with DRS? It will move all the VMs from one server to the other server, and then it will put it in maintenance mode and reboot the server and so on to do the upgrade. Yeah, but for that you need DRS. Of course, for those smaller environments, it's possible that maybe you have to put it yourself in maintenance mode, and that's why I said it's not a one-click upgrade. Yeah, sometimes you have to do a little bit more clicks. Anyway, when I do an update of my SimpliVity, I do it node per node. I want to be in full control, right? I do it step by step anyway. But hey, I didn't have any downtime, and here it's the same idea, of course. But know that today, I don't know about the future, maybe it will change, but today you need VMware DRS licensing if you want that the VMs are moved across all your nodes. Now I saw some other new things. It's not only about those upgrades, of course. I saw that with the latest the Nimble OS that came out as well. Know that with resiliency and high availability, you can set up that replication. This is an async replication, first with one Nimble production to another Nimble. And then let's say every 30 minutes, we're going to send a snapshot to that other system. It's very efficient. We only send the changes and so on and so on. But now today we have that multiple fan out smart replication. So now it's technically possible to set up a second schedule to another Nimble. As you can see, this is a third generation Nimble. So it doesn't have to be the latest generation 5 Nimble. It can be also on an older generation array of Nimble. We just have to validate the version of the Nimble OS that is running on there. But know that this is possible. By the way, I just see that it's generation 2 and not even 3, but this is really an old bezel of an old Nimble system. And by the way, you know that It even doesn't have to be a physical array, because remember that we also have HPE cloud volumes today also in Europe. So not only in the USA anymore, but we also have now in Ireland and in the UK, which is technically not Europe anymore, but that's why we have in Ireland as well. So we can also send that second snapshot to, for instance, HPE cloud volumes. And then from that moment on, we can do a restore on HPE Cloud Block. So we have cool things there as well with Nimble, which was good for Nimble, but you will see in the upcoming slides that now recently, by the way, it was 2 weeks ago with the latest SimpliVity software, that we also have a connector now for an additional backup of your data inside Cloud Volumes as well. Okay, so also there you will see those functionalities becoming really similar. And then one more about replication for Nimble is that the previous slide was async replication. This is sync replication, okay? So it's called peer persistence. So this was also long awaited on Nimble. Well, now with Nimble dHCI, it is supported as well. So you can have two Nimbles in two sites with a 10 gigabit connection in between. The front-end connectivity can be fiber channel. In the backend, the replication is also always IP-based today. But like I said, this shouldn't be a problem in the front end. It could be fiber channel or iSCSI, but now we have that sync replication available between Nimble arrays, and know that also this is now supported within dHCI cluster to have that RPO of 0, recovery point objective of 0, which is now supported today with Nimble dHCI as well. So this is a quick update about Nimble dHCI, which is most, of course, software updates, because you know Nimble, the hardware generations today, generation 5 as well. Keep on following my update sessions, because there will be a lot of announcements coming this year as well, and also on Nimble. So stay posted for sure. Now, the other big chunk in this presentation, of course, will be SimpliVity update, because the SimpliVity update was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2.5 a week ago from now somewhere, that there was that 4.1.0 update. And that was a long awaited update, because as you can see, these are the previous generations of software updates. And now indeed there was a big gap between 4.0.1 and before. Update 1 was just that rate controller update, which is also an important upgrade that happened. But so now there is 4.1.0, where is, for instance, the long awaited VMware 7, vSphere 7 support as well. Okay. So yes, it's there. I did the upgrade already. It worked fine. The screenshots, you will find them this week, probably tomorrow, on my blog as well, available for you, and through my social media. But as you can see, it wasn't only that one, because you will see that also within the data protection, we have more flexibility with the inside backups within the cluster, but also outside the cluster to store once, which was, by the way, a new feature somewhere. When was it? It was somewhere last year that they added the integration with store once. Well, now you will see also there, I have slides on it, that we have more support for store once, more flexibility in the deployment behind the WAN connections, for instance. And also we have now the cloud volumes integration. So now we can also have a backup of AVM, not only on store once, but also in the cloud at HPE Cloud Volumes. Also in the lifecycle management, there are pre-check utilities for the deployment. There are new SPPs, so smaller SPPs now as well, available as well for the systems that are supported. And there are plenty of little minor updates as well. So also there, I just took the most important slides, because know that we have much more slides available. It's a tech talk that you use. It is recorded, so it's available on techpro.hpe.com. If you cannot find it, just send me an email. But in that tech talk, it's more than 100 slides with all the details about the update. So now I picked the most important ones for you. By the way, this is something that I added last evening, really late, because this was an email that came in. Know that for those like me, on the 1st of March, when that 410 came out, apparently there was one file that was corrupt, that was not complete when they uploaded it. And so know that there is a 410A package posted on the 2nd of March. And so it's just for those few impatient people like me who downloaded on the 1st of March. Well, I got that email yesterday evening, so that's rather late. But anyway, I got an email to say, watch out, download this package. Now, meanwhile, I found out that that one file was corrupt. And so the day after, I got this file anyway. But this is just side note information. I assume when you download today, that one file is not there anymore, so don't worry too much about it. But hey, they keep on tracking me to see what I doing. Now, I told you SimpliVity, and by the way, in my demos, for those who connected to me as well already to have a demo for your customers and so on, I show StoreOne's integration. So what is it, StoreOne's? It's a physical appliance or it's a virtual appliance. It's made for deduplication. Store once the data. Yeah, because one of the feedback or the questions or the remarks on SimpliVity is, yeah, of course, you can do a really quick restore of a VM because the backup is inside the SimpliVity cluster on the node. That's why it's that fast, of course. Now, what if you lose your SimpliVity? Well, at that moment, with the StoreOne's integration, you can move that VM backup per VM. You can, from within the SimpliVity vCenter integration, I can move that backup to a external physical or virtual StoreOne's appliance. Now, this was added last year already, introduced last year. However, one of the requirements was that that StoreOne's appliance needed to be on the local network, on the 10 gigabit network. Testing, certification, validation. There were some reasons for that. Well, now I can say that now today, 4.1.0 support has that integration as well over a wide area network. Okay, so now it's technically possible to store that StoreOne's appliance in another physical location behind a WAN connection. Okay, so know that this is possible, supported today as well, because I have a few customers who asked me who are using effectively StoreOne's, but it had to be in the 10 gigabit connection range of the SimpliVity. Well, today it's not necessary anymore. Now, of course, watch out with that. You need, of course, to go to version 4.1.0 because they put more control in the code so that they can see about the WAN connection, that it's not saturated. They added functionality like bandwidth throttling and so on to get a better visibility on this one. Another big important addition is Cloud Volumes Backup. Now, don't be confused. Meanwhile, we have Cloud Bank, we have Cloud Volumes Backup, we have Cloud Volumes Block, which is a block-based storage environment inside HPE Cloud Volumes in the public cloud. Don't be confused. This is Cloud Volumes Backup. So there is no Cloud Bank integration, for instance. Now, anyway, Cloud Volumes Backup, what does it do? Well, it gets your data of your VM on SimpliVity. Now I can have it outside my SimpliVity in StoreOne's. But for StoreOne's, you still need to provide hardware or software. Now with Cloud Volumes Backup, it's the public cloud, it's storage, and you pay as you go. So if you put 10 gigabyte or 100 terabyte there, you just pay per gigabyte of how many copies that you are storing there. The nice thing is that, back again, it's integrated within the vCenter plugin. From within vCenter, you can now say make a backup local cluster, remote cluster, or on your StoreOne's, yeah, or on HPE Cloud Volumes. And then, of course, if you can make a backup to it, also from within there, you can do also a restore to your SimpliVity cluster. A minor side note there, it's here. The restore from store ones, but also from Cloud Volumes, needs to be done to the same cluster today. Okay? Because most of the time you do a restore to the same cluster. Now, in some specific cases, you lose your cluster. Your SimpliVity is completely gone, and you have to rebuild from scratch a new cluster on new hardware because there was a fire or a flooding, whatever. Well, at that moment, know that there is a tool. At that moment, you have to contact HPE support, because at that moment they will be able, they have an internal tool today so that you can restore from store ones or from Cloud Volumes to another SimpliVity cluster, because a new built up cluster from scratch is technically a new cluster. So be aware of that. So there's that support only tool. By the way, for those who are really interested in all the details, I can tell you that yesterday afternoon, there was a tech talk from HPE specifically about this one. A nice slide deck of 100 slides with all the details of how it works. So also there, if you want more information, go take a look at the HPE Tech Talk or contact me and I can give you a copy of that presentation. Unfortunately, we only have 90 minutes here because there are so many interesting things to say. So if you want more information, you know where to find me. Okay, but know that it is possible because it gives you more flexibility to have multiple copies of your data, just like Veeam is using that 3-2-1 best practice rule, right? Well, here as well, we can have multiple copies inside and outside and even at other premises in the cloud as well, together integrated with SimpliVity. And the nice thing is it doesn't cost anything. It's all inclusive licensing, of course, right? Only with Cloud Volumes, for instance, yeah, you pay per gigabyte, you pay per terabyte. So, and there you go, we have plenty of locations of where you want to keep that copy of your data. Now, of course, with GDPR, we will stay within the EU. So the data today will be stored in Ireland. Another one that was, yeah, definitely long awaited is now vSphere 7 that is supported with 4.10. So I always challenge you because, by the way, this one was already changed. Meanwhile, it needs to be 700D. Yeah, so it's 165, whatever, something, it's another number. But you always have to take a look into interop guide, the interoperability guide. There are the latest versions of what is supported. And this is something, by the way, that in probably it will be in May timeframe, because April we have 2 weeks of Eastern holiday and we have already 3 other webinars scheduled the end of April. But in May timeframe, we organize a webinar specifically about the upgrade process, about SimpliVity, a more practical session. So stay posted on the invitations that you will get of the upcoming webinars about that interoperability guide, because I get more and more questions about this. Yeah, and it is well documented, but not everyone can find the document. And by the way, let me show you if I gonna share the web browser with me. There is a direct link. Feel free to use hpepedia.com. So that's my blog, by the way. But here you can find that direct link. It always works. Yeah. To the SimpliVity interop document. Of course, you can also Google it. SimpliVity interop guide, but then you will see that yep, there you go, it's still 4.01 update 1 because this is Google. So then 4.0.410 then, so you need to know which is the latest version. So there's the link. If you use this link here, it's always pointing to the latest version. And so when you open up this document, there you go. You will see here, for instance, the VMware vCenter and the hypervisor interoperability. And so now you will see all the versions of vCenter. watch out, you need to follow these versions. Yeah, so don't always update the latest updates. So there you go. So today the latest version is 700D 167 blah 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 something. Okay, so this is the version supported today with 4.1.0. And there's the same table here about the ESXi versions. So there you go. There are a few ESXi versions. Only update 1 that is supported. So this is also something that you can see here on the presentation. So 7.0 update 1 and then ABCD available today are supported. What's changed? Yeah, of course, plenty of things that are changed. What is changed on the SimpliVity side? Yes, also there a lot of changes on the DeFi and the other integrations, the hardware libraries and so on that got updated. That's why it took some time as well before HPE supported ESXi 7. Important to know, 6.5, 6.7 keeps on being supported as long as VMware supports them, of course. So this is being added. Now, I challenge you, this is just one screenshot from the interoperability guide. There are some guidelines. And an important one is mentioned here, which I just told you about those minor updates. So sometimes there was a question about the security updates. What am I allowed to do? What am I not allowed to do? Well, it is allowed. This is now an example of 6.5, for instance. So when there was a version update 3E, and there is an update to version 3G because of a security issue, yes, you are allowed to go to 3G, even if it's not in the interoperability guide. Okay? Because we stay within that update 3. However, if there is an update 4, and update 4 is not inside the interop guide, at that moment it is not supported. Maybe it will work, but it's not tested. It is not validated by HPE, so it is not supported. Guys, please be aware of that. Okay, but all these things are explained in the interoperability guide. When there is a new SimpliVity software, 4.10, 4.20, 4.30, whatever, the first thing that you need to do is download that interoperability guide and take a look what is in there, because then you get that table. Also, I have now a few customers who are still running at 3.7.6 and they want to upgrade to 4.10. Nope, that's not possible. SimpliVity software supports it, but not the underlying firmwares. So you need to go from 3.7.6 to 3.7.9 and then 4.0.1 and then 4.10, for instance. Now with the upcoming versions, your life will be much easier, but definitely from those older versions from more than 2 years ago, yes, there are some steps that you need to follow. And this is the webinar that we're going to organize. Probably it will be somewhere in the May timeframe, where we're going to take a deeper look in the interop guide and the guides that the rules that you need to follow. Because now as well, normally, if you need to go from an old version to a new version, normally it's just one tool. Technically, it's 4 clicks. It's not 1 click, but 4 clicks. But even then, it will do everything for you, right? Now, only if you need to upgrade to 7.0, there's one step in between. Why? First, we need to update the OmniStack software to version 4.1.0, because otherwise ESXi 7 is not supported. Then we have to get out of the upgrade manager, because then we need to update ESXi. But of course, before you can update ESXi, we have to upgrade vCenter. So at that moment, step 2 is upgrade to vCenter, and then step 3 will be back again, then update ESXi together with the firmware of your servers and so on. So then at that moment, the tool will take care of everything. You just have to get out because you have to update the vCenter environment. Okay, so all this back again is well explained in that deployment guide. Okay, so in the interoperability guide and in the deployment guide, that is available on the HPE website. And by the way, it's there where you can download the software as well. Now for the deployment as well, there is a new tool, a new version 4.10, and there's a pre-check utility, because we noticed, I admit, that sometimes when you do a deployment, there's one node that hangs, that doesn't respond like it should be, and then you have to start all over with that node. So this is why now with the new deployment manager, you will see this new little function in here to run that check utility only. So you're not going to do the deployment. It is just running for you that pre-check utility. And so you can see now what is good or what is not good on this host. So you click on there and then you can see, hey, there's something wrong. There's something missing with that node. It can be network connectivity. It can be a software version. It can be anything, whatever. You just have to check there. What is the issue before you hit that deploy. And so what you can do is, of course, because you have to enter the IP addresses, because he's checking that there are no duplicate or conflicting IP addresses. So what you can do there is you can save that configuration in an XML file. So at that moment, it will make your life easier afterwards when you're going to do actually that deployment. Yeah? So back again, this is definitely something better in here for the deployment. Then for the upgrades, well, like I told you, so also with the upgrade manager, you have to do less steps compared to the previous versions as well, but that's an important one. All what I'm telling you here about the one-click upgrades and the easier deployment and upgrades, this is from 3.7.10 on. So first of all, you get with your existing customers. This is not for new customers. This is for existing customers running older versions. Well, you have to catch up first if you didn't do so, because you shouldn't have. But if you didn't do so, at that moment, you have to catch up to these versions. And so this is why as well, these are all the steps. So there you go. What you need to do. There's one additional step, because you have to go from vCenter 6.7 to 7.0. B needs to be changed in D meanwhile. And at that moment, you can upgrade your ESXi to version 7. All this is in the interrupt guide. The link is in the presentation. Yes, you get a copy of the presentation. Okay. So, and if it's not clear, yeah, you know where to find me, or yeah, there's still the HPE website and HPE support. Also, some minor things that I found about back-in-time releases. Back again, this is not really only SimpliVity. This is a specific version, but hey, it might happen. A customer that was running 6.7 EP16. I love those versions and naming conventions of VMware as well, right? Because that one was released on the 15th of October, which was newer than 7.0 update 1, which was released 9 days before. Well, at that moment, that's a back-in-time release. Yeah, for VMware, well, at that moment, it is not supported. So you have to wait until ESXi 7.0 update 1, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever, something that was released after the 15th of October to be eligible, of course, to update to that newer version, because it's got to be a newer version. Okay, this is a really a niche case, but I just want to put it in here because I don't want that you have issues with this, of course. Okay, there are some other, there's more explanations in here. Like I said, there is a tech talk where the people from the SimpliVity team are explaining this and what are the steps, or they mentioned a specific workaround that you would be able to do. So I put all the information in the slide deck. You get a copy of it so that you are aware. Also, an important thing that I want to highlight is that Gen 9 servers are still supported, but not for 4.1.0, which means that ESXi 7 is supported on Gen 9, but not for SimpliVity. Now, most of my customers anyway are running SimpliVity Gen 10. But if you have a customer with SimpliVity Gen 9, know that the latest version is 4.0.1. So it's not possible to go there to 4.1.0. Just be aware, okay? I'm just sharing you all the information that I might find interesting to avoid you getting in trouble. Um, Another feature that was added in 4.0.1, but it was CLI only, was a single replica data store. So now with SimpliVity, your data gets written on two nodes, high availability, sync replication across two nodes for resiliency. But some applications like SQL or Exchange, and Oracle, they might have high availability resiliency built in, and software rate built in the application. Well, at that moment, it's stupid that your application is writing the data twice, and then SimpliVity is writing the data twice as well, which means that you have 4 copies. Well, at that moment, there was a possibility through CLI to create a single replica data store. Well, now you don't have to do it through CLI anymore. So now you can see it in the GUI as well. So now it really becomes usable. We create a data store with only a single copy, a single hive of your data. Yeah, so we don't have the high availability anymore on SimpliVity level, because we expect, of course, the VMs that you put on there, that those VMs, they have high availability on data level. Now it's only during the creation, but also now within the graphical user interface. So now here we have an example of a 2 data stores with a single replica data store. So now you can see it, that's a single replica data store. And now even more important is that on VM level, so if you put a VM there, well, there under storage HA, which until now always needed to be yes, so this needs to be yes if you want to be sure that all your data is synchronously replicated across 2 nodes. Well, now you see as well that this VM, VDI VMSR, is stored on a single replica data store. Okay? Which means that if that node with that data store goes down for maintenance, well, at that moment, you should know that that VM will be shut down because it only has a single replica of its data, of course. So you can see it everywhere. Back again, there are some restrictions on single replica data stores. I just put the information in here, but you should know that it's not possible to move a dual replica virtual machine onto a single replica data store. Yeah, move. What you need to do, yeah, you need to make a backup and then the restore on that one. Also to make a backup of a VM within a second or within a minute, make a backup and do a restore. It's not possible on the same cluster. What you can do is you can send a backup to a remote cluster. So that is possible, for instance, right? So there are some rules that you need to follow. Also, back again, this information can be found in the release notes of 4.1.0. I just want to highlight this. 4.1.0 is not only software, it's also new hardware, because specifically, this is, by the way, the current portfolio of SimpliVity. Well, in the 380G models, there's a new model. There was a by 6, a by 8, a by 12, a by 16, which means that that's the number of SSDs in there. So now we have a model with 24 SSDs as well. So it's a model with 32 terabyte of capacity in there that is being added. So there you go. I put all the information for you in here as a reference. So there you see that there are 24 SSDs in there. It is software rate. Yeah, so it's not a model with the accelerator card anymore. So it's the G model, software optimized with it's on all those models. It's not important, but for the techies among us, it's good to know that there is rate protection, of course. It's now 3 sets of 8 disks of SSDs in here. So here's the picture. This is how it looks like with the 24 SSDs. And there's also, might be important when you're going to do a sizing. Steve, that's a good question. I'm going to answer that in a minute, because that's the next set of slides that I'm going to show you. Is there a performance difference between the G nodes and the hardware accelerated nodes? I'm going to tell you in a minute. This information is important when you're going to do a sizing because it's a software optimized node. Of course, you need to give memory to that. Oh yeah, guys, SVA is something new. So from now on, you will see it in the presentations. We're not talking about the VSA because that's something else. Now we have an SVA, the SimpliVity Virtual Appliance, which is the new name of the OVC, the OmniStack Virtual Controller. OmniStack, which is a legacy name from SimpliVity software. So OmniStack Virtual Controller, the OVC is still there, but at least in the presentations, we're talking now about SVAs. I also have to get used to is SimpliVity Virtual Appliance. And so as you can see, we need 8 vCPUs, but definitely we need 152 gigabyte of RAM memory reservation because it's really a big node with a lot of data, a lot of capacity in there, of course. I have my own SimpliVity Sizer Excel sheet that I share with my customers. So if you want an updated version of this one, just send me an email or call me. So with all the sizing best practices and the reservations in there as well. And then of course, as well, the expected capacity inside a cluster. Now, last one for me, very important, software optimized. I got a question here about, yeah, what about those G nodes, software optimized compared to accelerated nodes? Finally, I am allowed to talk about it. Is that you should know is that that accelerator card. We have that model, the 380, the legacy, the classic model with accelerator card. That card exists already for 7 years. Yeah. And it helps definitely for the dedupe and the compression. But now HPE found out, yeah, we need to make a new card. And there was a new card. But we found out, or HPE found out, that the performance of those G models, because today, hey guys, Intel AMD, 64 cores, yeah, much more bandwidth with the latest AMD CPUs, definitely, and Intel will be announcing in 1 or 2 weeks new Intel CPUs as well. So more bandwidth, more performance, lower latency. So HPE decided to say that we're going to remove that added cost of that hardware card. So I can tell you that the 380 Classic today is end of life. Okay, it's still, you still can sell it until somewhere after the summer. It's still available, but there's also no promotion anymore on there. Yeah, so it's still there for existing customers who wants to grow their existing clusters. But all the new environments, all the new customers will be a 380 G model. Okay, so there you go. So there is that transition today, and we will help you with this. If this is not clear, of course, we take data, we're going to help you with this. But so in the SimpliVity 380, we had those extra small, small, medium, large, and extra large nodes. Well, there you will see that there is now in the 380G, the software models. We have the models by 6, by 8, by 12, by 16. And now by 24 in the 380G. And there is that very popular SimpliVity 325, which exists in extra small and small, a by 4 and a by 6 as well. And so depending on the capacity, we're going to help you with this because I have that nice Excel table that I created. So you can see the capacity when we are transitioning to these new models, of course. And remember that we still have that 380H, that hybrid model as well, that also has that specific capacity. Okay, so yes, 380 Classic accelerator card will be going away. Now, anyway, on the 380G today, we have very good promotions available. By the way, prices, we're not going to talk about prices today because in the presentation of January, so the webinar of January, we were talking more about the models of 380G and the promos that are available there. By the way, if you missed that session, no problem. There is a recording available and the presentation was sent out as well to all the people that attended. It was also a crowded session at that moment. So there you go. We have the use cases transition. So most of the time we will stay within SimpliVity, but no, in some specific cases, those few customers who bought those XL extra large nodes, well, we have now that extra large by 24 model in the 380G, or in some specific cases at that moment, if that customer said, I need really tens, hundreds of terabytes at that moment, yep, dHCI was also a good possibility for live data. If it was more for archiving, well, at that our moment, yeah, we were going towards store once and HPE Cloud Volumes backup, of course, right? So there you go. Like I said, performance, we go to those traditional models, just like with the hybrid model, that 380G by 24, it is performant, but it has so much capacity, and it is only supporting read-intensive drives. So at that moment, this node is really positioned as being a capacity node as well. Yeah, you can run VMs on there, but not hundreds of them, right? So that's really positioned towards capacity, and the other models are based on performance. Now, anyway, like I said, we're going to talk more about sizing and designing and upgrading in an upcoming session that we organize somewhere in the May time frame. So stay posted. Now, there's one more important thing that I want to talk about, because it's not only SimpliVity and Nimble dHCI and hardware and software that is changing, but also support is changing. Okay, and maybe you noticed, maybe you received an email, maybe you didn't receive an email, but also support is changing, and I'm happy that I have a guest speaker, Inge. Thank you for thank you for spending some short time with us, because also there. This is just a quick introduction in what's happening on the support side, because also on the support side, for SimpliVity, for Nimble, but by the way, as well for a traditional DL380 server, support is changing, with the support being proactive care and data center care and all the other support packs that were available. Well, in the upcoming months, there are changes, and I'm going to give some time now to Inge to show what does this mean for you. And by the way, all the details also with Inge, we're going to organize another session somewhere. It will be in the June timeframe, because she will tell in a minute now about the launch. It's also during upcoming months, but so in the June timeframe we will have a specific session as well about the experience, about what we call tech care. But by the way, Inge is much more experienced in tech care than myself. So Inge, go ahead and tell me
Yes,
what's
thanks.
happening.
Thanks for having me. Yes, you can click on this slide, and thank you for moving the slides for me here. Thanks for having me here. Indeed, our OS portfolio, operating services portfolio, until last week, in fact, looked like this, and I think it must be known to most of you. If you want to upsell on the product warranty, on the warranty that comes with your product, you had a choice with our to propose our reactive support, which is foundation care with the known SLAs, next business day, 24/7 CTR, with or without DMR, CDMR. If you wanted to add a proactive portion to those, you could go to proactive care, where you have on top of the foundation care deliverables, you had a connection to the Advanced Solutions Center, and when correctly connected to HPE, you would have some proactive reporting available for our customers. And then next to that, you have the data center care, which is our highest service. Let's say it like that. It's the service that aims at helping our customers operate and keep track of their whole environment, where we help them to take care of all that while they can, as we say, focus on their business. There you have a whole support team that helps the customer to do all that. If you want to just click two more times, but then I can show that. Can you click, please? Yes, that we can offer the data center care also in a consumption-based model. The expert there is not me, absolutely not. It's Bart de Bot in our organization, if you would have questions on that. And in order to make the whole solution complete towards our customers, we are, of course, next to maintenance services, offering installation services, service credits, education services, and lifecycle event services, like, for instance, data sanitization services. And all that can be attached, and I hope by you, to our hardware and software configurations. The value proposition of Tech Care, the new service that we are launching, it was launched last week, Wednesday, is important. And that's why I made a slide. Well, I kept a slide on it. And it's faster outcomes through digital experiences, providing a differentiated product experience. So every word is important. If you can go to the next slide, please. So why are we launching this? The fact is that the services industry is moving faster than ever. I am in the business, let's say, for 3 decades now. I started for a company between brackets that was called Digital Equipment 30 years ago. So I've seen it moving fast and it's getting faster than ever. And I see that the break fix deliverables that you're offering with your service are no longer a real differentiator. And they have become a commodity, although of course they are still very important. But we see that now, even if we said, okay, we have to offer solutions to our customers, so meaning the top products with the good services that go with it, we are now moving to what we call an experience economy. So it is the experience that our customers will be getting when we deliver the service that will make them stay with us or choose for us. Okay, and we are well aware of that. Okay, the examples that are given here are Uber and Netflix. I think, for instance, of how I personally would like to interact with my vendors, my energy vendor, for instance. If I have questions on my contract or whatever, I want the information quick. I want them to help me, but sometimes I want to help myself and find the information myself. And it's in that way of thinking that you must find a reason why we are changing our portfolio. In fact, if you can click to the next slide, please. Yes, in order to give that new experience to our customers in December last year, we already introduced for our customers in a first release, and it will be hopefully in next releases also be extended to our partners. But we have completely changed the HPE Support Center platform. And we call it the digital customer experience, where when a reseller, when a customer goes onto that platform, he gets a whole new intuitive way of doing case management, of getting information on the contracts to see where those contracts are on the contract, with which partner and everything. That is what he will see now. I have added a little link to a nice experience demo for you also to look at if you would like to see what it looks like. It's really worth looking at it because, as I said before, today notions as self-serve and self-solve are no longer, let's call it, the bad words. It's not customers thinking, if I have to do it myself, why should I pay for it? No, what we want to do is by inciting our customers to connect themselves with their equipment to HPE through InfoSight, as we are talking about this now, giving them the needed insights to eventually get like preemptive recommendations, predictive support automations, actionable AI insights that can help them, but also you then, if you get access via them to it, to make the support experience even better. Yes, the next slide, please. Now, yes, here is our portfolio as you know it. Warranty, foundation care, proactive care. We used to have proactive care, advanced and data center care. All good services, but quite complex. You will agree with me. At the end of November, early December, we already said that we were going to stop with proactive care advanced, and the idea would be to motivate those customers either to jump to data center care with the new versions. I will come back on that afterwards, or they would be renewed into data center care in the new versions. Now the next step is really to launch that new service that will be the first service to uplift from the warranty that comes with the product, and that will be Tech Care. Okay, so the service was launched last week, but it will be available with the launch of the new compute products that Frank Farid, when HPE is going to announce next week in April. But bear with me, I already want to prepare you and to give you an idea of what the service is going to be like. Next slide, please. If we say that we want to differentiate, but also to simplify, we would like to make the story to tell our customers and to position our services easier, easier for us, but also easier for you to position them. And in fact, we have Tech Care on the one hand, and that is the service that we want to position. If the question of the customer would be like, help get me the most out of my product, so really a product-based support. If the question of the customer would be like, listen, I want you and your team to help me to optimize my whole environment from edge to cloud, then we need to talk about data center care and all the versions and all the possibilities that we have there. By the way, a data center care will go through a renaming phase. It's not a new service that will be announced, but it will get a new name, and this will be announced on the Discover virtual event in the June timeframe. Okay, so keep you posted there. Now, how do we want to give that experience to our customers? Yes, by, and I may say that, by combining the power of our great products and our services, of course, but we will base ourselves on three important axes. Okay, the first one I already touched at that. It's enabling self-serve and self-solve. And so, yes, giving the customer actionable insights so that if he would want to do that, he could find a solution himself, read advisories or whatever, or share those with you so that together you can find, yes, the best solution and to get the issue solved quicker. Okay. Then the second one is easier access to our experts. I have a separate slide on that one. I will come back on it. And the last one, there is where we really want to move away from, you know, the fix my product thing, that in fact we would leave more to warranty, but help me get the most out of my product, that we want to achieve by making it possible to log a case with us or send to you to get advice on whatever question on operating or managing the product. Okay, so you don't need a break or something that has to be fixed to ask for advice, which is quite game changing, the fact that you can do that. So that's what we say, access to expert technical advice. So these are the three pillars. If you can go to the next slide. Okay, this is the slide where I want to elaborate a little bit more on what do we mean by getting easier access. So the expert chat, it's an online chat capability that will be there. So through HPE Support Center, you will be directed immediately with an expert, which is matched to the product, the hardware, the workload, whatever you are asking about. And out of that chat, either you will get information, you will be able to read advisories, but also if we feel like, okay, this is really a case where we need to open a case, automatically a case can be opened directly. The visual remote guidance is quite new, especially in Belgium. I talked a few months ago with my delivery manager, with Frederik de Schepper, and he said that at that time it wasn't really used. But visual remote guidance, in fact, what it is imagine a kind of FaceTime experience that you get on an Android or an iOS appliance, where if you would like to talk to one of our experts, you could, via the HPE My Room platform with the app, downloaded the app, talk and in real time, you know, show what the issue is. I'm absolutely not a technical person myself, but I could imagine that when you run into an issue when replacing a spare or whatever, you would like to show it what's not working. So that could be
Well,
done with the
maybe I
visual
can come
remote
in here.
guidance. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
maybe I can come in here because I had that experience. This is a coincidence that you talk about that
okay,
because yeah, it was 2 weeks ago when I was updating my SimpliVity environment. I can say that I had to create a case because I found a little problem, something that was unexpected in the software.
okay,
And I created a support case. And I know myself, I put a lot of information in there because I know what those guys are asking me, those 50 questions, of course. So I put everything in there on Friday afternoon and I just have a next business day thing. So Monday morning, I got an email from an engineer and he just sent me an email. Please click on this link, go to HPE My Room so that I can take a look at it. So he
okay,
was
great.
not even bothering me with send me log files and screenshots and so on. He just took over my screen and within 10 minutes, my problem was solved. So I
Okay,
can
glad to
say
hear.
it works great.
Okay,
Yes.
super, super. Thank you. Yes, other ways on easy access to experts, because the idea is really to give our customers control over their over their technology and to get access quickly to information and to knowledge bases. And we have two ways of doing that. So customer could go to HP Support Center and access a video library, in fact, of videos with technical guidance, videos, information that is put there by our engineers, of which, well, we think that it makes sense and that it could solve issues, common issues where what we heard of or that we have learned through AI or whatever. And that can be accessed by those through those videos. The community forums, also accessible through HPE Support Center, are moderated forums. So what I mean by that is that, okay, customers can talk with peers, can do some best practice sharing. Um, if they are like, geeks on whatever thing, they can ask questions, but we will always keep an eye on that and check that the answers that are given there are correct. If a question shows that a case is needed, cases can be opened out of there, and we will make sure that the questions do not remain unanswered for more than 2 days. Okay, so it is moderated by us. It's not that we just have a forum there and don't look at it. Absolutely not. We want to take care of that also. Next slide, please, Bart. Oh yes, our service levels, I think well known to everyone. Next business day, 24/7, 6 hours CTR, all still available, but we give them a new name: basic, essential, and critical. Why did we do that? Because, okay, when talking to people, even with my own sales, they said, why do they do that? Because they said exactly what it was. And I must agree on that. On the other hand, I understand that now with changing the portfolio, we wanted to give names that adhere more to the criticality of the product and the business where this product is running for. So I think that basic, essential, and critical says it's also really good what it is about. Media retention options remain available. So if customers wish to retain their disks after a break with important and information for them on it, they can keep it when they choose the DMR. Memory modules can be kept if the CDMR option is chosen. Yes, please do the next slide. So here we are with the launch schedule. So last week it was announced. Those who are linked with me on LinkedIn, and if you are not yet, please link with me. It would be great. You would have seen that I made quite some buzz in the pre-launch phase already, posting some interesting videos and information and insights. But the real launch and the availability of all the information, because bear with me, I do not have like the exact pricing information and so on. I do not have it today. It will be available in all our tools, in OCA, in iQuote, NGQ. All that will be uploaded with the tech care information for, and that's an important one, for the products, the compute products, the ProLions, Gen 10 Plus ProLions that are going to be announced next week. It is the 6th of April, right? For those. So it's really a phased introduction, right? So in the May timeframe, sorry, I expect some, we all expect some news around Primera. On those new devices, we will also ship them with tech care. Okay, then Discover virtual event will be in June. We will give a new name to our data center care service. And then all the remaining products, so being SimpliVity, for instance, and so on, those will be onboarded with tech care as of the July timeframe. So and it will be really a phased introduction. And so, yes, bear with me, for a certain moment in time, you will have the other services like foundation care and proactive care still to be sold and on the truck for those products who have not yet onboarded on tech care. If you can go to the next slide, Bart, then I can explain it. So the idea is that customers that have foundation care and proactive care contracts or that are buying them now on products where tech care will not be available, they will be renewed into tech care upon renewal. As I said, we will have the 3 different services existing next to one another. Okay, that should really not be an issue. Now, today, foundation care customers, when they log into HPE Support Center, they already get that new look and feel, and if they are connected with their devices. And there, I also would like to say, I don't know if any of you was in the Tech Café last Friday, where we also spoke a little bit about InfoSite connection and what it does for support and so on. Also there, it is a real journey. Okay, the experience that you're getting with InfoSite on a Nimble is much more elaborated today, let's face it, than what we have on a server. Okay, but this is going to, to elaborate and become more and more important as more and more insights are and more people are connected. And we will also guide our customers and our resellers in helping our customers connect the right way to get the full experience. But what I wanted to say is that foundation care customers today already get part of the experience. our proactive care customers, they already have also the special expert access and the general technical guidance. I think that even 2 years ago, I explained also in webinars the additional deliverables that we had for proactive care on SimpliVity, Synergy, Tripar, and Primera. And those two were in fact already part of that in a way. So for them, the difference will not be so big. Okay, that new deliverable. So that was what I had to say about tech care today. I would like to go a little deeper into data center care because I truly believe that it is not always clear what data center care, what our strategy is with it. And it is quite clear. What we want to do is to grow through the channel our data center care business. So we really want to land new DC contracts, not only in our global and enterprise customers, but also in our mid-market. And that we can do, I believe, by simplifying the selling of DC for you, for our resellers to attach it easily, just like you did attach foundation care and proactive care in the past. Okay, and that's why we introduced the starter pack. I will come back on that later. Yes, of course, expand DC. Oh, sorry, Bart, if you could just wait a little second. Expand DC in the DC accounts and making sure that if you talk to a DC customer and that you need to provide him with new equipment, and if you would have to make an offer for him for Store Once or for SimpliVity or whatever, that you would do that with a DC add-on, because that's the way how you can sell DC in an existing DC customer. Of course, sell the new DC value. I am not really knowledgeable in all the building blocks around DC, to be really honest. We have Steven van der Zanden in our organization, who is business manager within Point Next Services, who is really knowledgeable about that. But then we're talking about DC for SAP HANA, DC for Azure, and so on, and for Nonstop. Okay. And then, yes, we want to ignite the channel with DC, and we will be providing you through Seismic and also through other trainings, all the enablement that you need to be able to position it with your customers. If you can go to the next slide. Okay, so data center care. How can I offer it? There are two ways in which you can offer it. The first one is the one you all know, and that's the one I believe that is perceived as also being the more complex way of doing it. Okay, we need a statement of work that needs to be made in partnership with you and a solution architect and a sales from HPE to check, to make a complete statement of work, a customized contract for the DC customer. We have elaborate contracts, what we call an enterprise statement of work. We also have the small instance for less complex environments. Therefore, we have the small instance now also introduced, but that's statement of work based. On the right-hand side of the slide, you see the SKU-based way of quoting it through OCA or SAP if you want to do it on a contract. And we introduced 2 years ago the starter pack standard. Okay, and now this year we have added the basic and the basic remote. Now, when the starter pack standard was introduced, and although I think I really try to explain that it is just a SKU-based way of offering a standard DC contract, the expectation that was created in one or the other way, and it was a misconception, was that it was going to be a lot more less expensive than a SO-based DC standard contract, in fact. And that is not the case. It's just an easy way to attach it, but it remains quite a large contract, and with large I mean budget-wise, it is an important price. So in fact, we listened to our channel community, and we have developed 2 new versions of it. I will come back on it on another slide, but please, Bart, if you can move to the next slide, I would like to explain how do you have to attach it? How does it work? So, okay, bear with me. Let's give an example. You have to make an offer with quite a large infrastructure. You have talked to the customer and he really is in need of that data center care way of taking care of his support. So you want to offer him data center care. Okay, so what you need to do is attach 3 things. The first thing is the starter pack SKU. The starter pack SKU is in fact his club card to become a DC customer. He has to buy it only once for whole his environment, for the whole duration of his contract. On the right-hand side, you see you can buy it for 4, for 3, for 4, for 5 years. And then, okay, you attach it. If you can just quickly go to the next slide, then I can just show what is the customer buying with that? What does that comprise? Okay, so in that club card that you are selling him, we foresee an account support team who does the account support plan, support planning and review sessions, support activity reporting, inventory management, high level, brief level operational technical guidance. I will come back on that one. And what not many people know is that there is, for 2 named users at the customer, there is a digital learner basic pack also provided for the duration of his contract. Okay, if you can just go back to the slide before. So this is the starter pack SKU. And what I would say is when you make an OCA configuration, make a separate bundle for that starter pack SKU. Then on every product that you are adding, let's say you're selling an MSA, SimpliVity, Synergy, Frames, whatever, then instead of when you would have added foundation care or proactive care in the past, please add the standard add-on SKU, okay, that is also configurable in OCA. In fact, as you see on the right-hand side with those SKUs, the X is in fact the SLA that you will be selling. It's a standard SLA, okay? It will be the next business day 24/7 CTR choice that you will get. With that, you give the enhanced call handling that comes with a DC customer, because the trust process and everything that we have for our SO-based offers remains the same for these offers, okay? And this is sold on every device. Next to that, we add, as we said, that in the starter pack, we only give like brief technical guidance. The idea is not to go and deliver proactive services under that umbrella. Okay, we need some credits in order to do that. We ask to add for the, I will come back on the details, but a limited number of credits to be added in order to fulfill that. And with that SKU for the starter pack SKU, with the DC add-on and the credits for the proactive technical services, there you have, in fact, what you need to have a full DCC contract. Now, I do understand, and I know what some of our resellers are thinking, and I know that because I have been giving presentations to them about this, and I got that feedback, is that indeed we have resellers who do not have proactive capabilities as such in their portfolio. Okay, and to those we give the full possibility now to talk on that DCC level with their customers and to be able to provide it. And I know that we have resellers who have like really great proactive technical skills and capabilities themselves. And for them, it's not always easy or not always preferable to have to propose service credits for which HPE until now still do not give the possibility to deliver them under the credits. Okay, so I absolutely understand that this can be a showstopper for you to offer it with Data Center Care Starter Pack, but that would not stop you, of course. And we have sold many of them together with resellers to do it the statement of work based way. Sorry. What I also wanted to say, and that's a side note, if you would have an opportunity where you believe that the DC starter pack way of adding the contract would be really the best solution, please come to me, especially for for the budget, for the pricing, how we can quote this. You can absolutely directly come to me for that. What I also wanted to say is don't be limited to the opportunity at hand. What I mean is if you would go to a customer and you only have like a small environment to offer, and at first you would not think it makes a lot of sense to put a data center care on that one, maybe it's worth also talking to the customer about his install base with HPE material that he already has. If a customer is systematically buying equipment with proactive care, for instance, I can assure you, if you would give me the opportunity of making an offer for you to show you that if we would transfer this into a data center care basic or basic remote contract, we would even get a better price than if you would count all that. It scales much better. It is clear that with the starter pack SKU that you sell only once, the bigger the environment is, of course, the bigger it scales. Okay, I am not asking you to propose DCC if it makes no sense for the customer, of course, and I will never do that. Now we have Take Care, of which I really hope you will be as optimistic about it as I am to offer it. But please, just for you to understand how we want the starter pack to be seen. If you can go to the next slide. Yes, so here you see the 3 variants next to one another. Okay, if I say that we have made the basic and the basic remote, okay, let's call a cat less expensive than the standard one, then how did we do that? Well, what we did is we cut back a little bit on the assigned services resources. Okay, in the basic version, you still have a really technical person at the ASM who, together with a new role, which is called the service advisor role, and that's a completely remote role, will take care of all the same deliverables. And I can send you the data sheet if you want to have them in detail, of all the same deliverables as the other data center care contracts, but as you see, a little bit less in frequency. Okay, so instead of a quarterly support planning and review session, you do only two. Okay, and the same goes for the others. What we also ask is to add, well, we give you the possibility to add a minimum of 30 credits with the basic and the basic remote. In the basic remote version, there we radically go to a remote person only who will be fully responsible, if you wish, together with you, of course, but for the relationship management with the customer, to organize the review meetings. So those people have been um, educated in order to deliver what is expected within a DCC contract. So we have the standard, which is a full standard DCC. We have the basic, which is still that notion of an ASM to talk to, but he will be helped by a service advisor, not a technical account manager, not a data center care hardware specialist, as with the standard ways. And then you have the basic remote, where we have the service advisor. And that's where the vision was, to move the customers who were used to buying proactive care advanced, because in the proactive care advanced, we had 10 credits included per year, to have that access to an ASM. This is where we would like to position that now. Now, I hear you think, okay, but with the proactive care advanced, the ASM was still a local person. Agreed. In the past, it was like that. And in Belgium and Luxembourg, I must say that within Europe, we were one of the lucky ones. But I can assure you that already 3 years ago, when I started, by the way, with this job, one of the first things that I heard was that in many countries, the A in PCA, in Proactive Care Advanced, was going to be a remote person. Not in Belgium, but now it will be. We need to have full confidence, and I will have it. Okay, if I talk to my delivery organization, they are really, really convinced that this will give the DC experience as it should be. All right. Yes, the next slide. Oh yes, I just added this because if you say, okay, is it less expensive? This is list prices. In green, you see the 5 years starter pack, the standard. In orange, you have the basic version. And in yellow, you have the remote version. As you see, uh, list prices, but also net prices. I've put 50% discount because, to be really honest, this is the base at which we start with quoting this now. I want to put this in the market. I want to help you position it and be able to sell it. So that's why I said, please come to me and escalate your deal through NGQ. It will come to me and I can have a look at the pricing and help you even on how you would make your OCA configuration. But there you see that the price of a basic is already 70% of the price of a standard. And if you see the yellow, well, okay, the basic remote is half of the price of it. So there you could, with this 50% discount already for, let's say, 11K per year, 11K per year, yes, offer the DCC support. Okay. Now, yes, easy to configure it in OCA, to configure. It's to configure in OCA. Um, I did the test with one of my pre-sales, and indeed, if you start a configuration and you flag the fact that it is a new DC customer, you will get the 3 possibilities and you can choose original, which is a standard, basic, or basic remote. Then when you go to the enhanced call handling features, so the DC add-on, you will be able to choose those. Is it a 24/7 or is it a 6-hour call to repair? Whatever, you can choose them too. And then, of course, yes, we are like that. We add automatically the highest number of service credits to it. But be assured, without fan approvals or whatever, you will be able to reduce the number of credits to what I showed you in the previous slide, where it was 50, I think, yes, 50 for the standard and 30 credits, which means, in fact, 3 days per year. Okay. And then you would ask, okay, when do I need a SO-based DCC then? Well, there are quite some reasons to do that, okay? Because as soon as you are responding to an RFP with your customer and where the requirements for the SLA are other than our standard SLAs, let's say the customer asks for a 4-hour or a 2-hour call to repair, it's already a reason to go to SO, because we do not have that in the starter packs, okay? Yes, if in your configuration where you want to quote a dHCI on, you have Aruba, nonstop, and oh, I hate this, Nimble, then I will not be able, because I do not have them, to help you quote with DC add-ons. They are not there for the moment. For Nimble, I am really pushing the organization to make them available, and I really cross my fingers that in June, maybe they will be available. But at the moment, if you have Nimble in your configuration, you will not be able to use the starter pack. You will need a statement of work. And if you go really for the complex building blocks thing, DC for Azure, SAP is changing. We have some modules that you can attach to a starter pack. For the moment, this is really new, but you know, DC for non-stop and so on, you really need a statement of work. So you can either go to your PBM, of course, or ask Tech Data, of course, to help you with that and to direct you in the good direction. Or you can simply send an email also to brobitpartner@hpe.com. You will be redirected to a generic mailbox that will be read and where we will help you to put you in contact. Because yes, let's face it, if you need a statement of work, you also need, at this moment, you still need a solution architect to help you quote that. So you will need help from HPE. This slide is in fact a summary to show you how we are trying to add data center care, make it easy for our partners. There are multiple ways to sell it now. You have the starter pack way of doing it, as I explained, with the three phases that you need to add in OCA. Then you have the small instance statement of work and the enterprise statement of work for the more um, well, the first one for the SMB customers, as we said, but what we in fact mean is for, you know, less complex environments, okay, or with less complex deliverables, right? And then the enterprise for the large accounts. What would we recommend? Yes, well, let's start landing DC in non-DC accounts. And I always speak with two words, if it makes sense for your customer and if you believe that, you know, dCC would be a real fit. And if together, because the last slide is about that, but if together we can make this DC experience complete for our customer, then please do so. We use the standard, okay, you know, the amounts that you see on the slides, 150K, that is the support engagement budget that we foresee there. So that would mean like a 600K deal with a 30% pen rate or so. So you see, for the starter pack standard, we really mean like large quotes, okay? The basic and the basic remote are for less complex quotes. Then we ask, oh, just two more things. We ask to expand in the DC accounts with the new value, and that those are those building blocks. And that for that you will need a statement of work, except if it's for SAP HANA, because there you can add it to the starter pack. And then yes, maybe start thinking about upselling proactive care and proactive care customers to DC. Why not? If you would say, okay, on a Primera, the minimum that I have to add at this moment is proactive care, as long as the news are not there with tech care. You could do so, but you could also have a look at the install base of the customer and maybe think, would it not be a good idea to do an upsell? Because the starter pack can also be sold on contract. So you can upsell an existing customer with a starter pack, which will be added to the contract. And then contractually, we can look at this install base and make you an offer through Tech Data to upsell the existing contracts to DC add-on. Okay, so this is an exercise that can be done. Next slide, please. Yes, I really wanted to add it, and I'm going to read it completely because I really want you to know that this is what we feel. It is that HPE believes in a collaboration with HPE and the partners so that we can align our capabilities and to bring the customer a solution that is the best solution for him. In the joint solution design process, HPE and partners will agree on what services or deliverables are required to meet customer expectations. Which services do you want to deliver at the customer? Which role do you want to play there? So it is absolutely worth the conversation with us. And then this process will enable partners to complement the HPE offer by adding on top of the DC services your own added value services. So we are really open to dialogue there, and we have to if we want to be successful together. Let's be clear about that. So in fact, this is what I wanted to tell about our portfolio today, Bart. What do you think?
Looks very interesting, and yeah, like you mentioned, there are changes coming, so it's not just today but also in the upcoming months. We need to be aware of this. So the only thing that I can say is as well, of course, yeah, we as Big Tech Data, we get the updates as well, so we're going to support our customers being the HPE partners as
Absolutely.
well with this choice. And then we have to find indeed the best spot to go to tech care or the data center care. And then yeah, the upcoming new name. And definitely it's good to see that also, that we need to be aware that for the upcoming weeks and months, that also for a traditional DL server and SimpliVity and the Primera, that also on the support side there are changes coming to that experience-based usage. And that's the whole thing that we see in all the sessions today, that the experience indeed is changing. And it's not only on the hardware and on the software side, but it's good to see as well that it's also happening on the support side. So I only can be happy with this, because if support makes my life easier, then also my customers will be happier, and then they will
Absolutely.
come back again as well. So thank you as well for these explanations, definitely. And like I said, more details, because you saw that announcement chain. So also in July and June, there will be announcements. So this is why as well, we are available. By the way, I just put in this slide in the presentation because we arrived at the end. And so here's our email address, our phone number. We have plenty of team members that will help you with technical and non-technical information. And like I said, these are the dates that we have already of upcoming sessions, but are we working already on May and June timeframe on, for instance, SimpliVity, Nimble, Primera, that will be changing. Compute definitely, because AMD got announced with Gen 10 Plus. Intel is coming as well. And also about, once that we know more details about the tech care and the data center care and all the details behind that support as well, definitely for SimpliVity, because I think for SimpliVity, since this is a hot product these days, that we need to keep you know that you're up to date with the latest information about what is available today. So keep on checking our website. The dates are there. Once that you got registered for this session, thank you for being here. You will get an email with a copy of the presentation. The recording will be out there on the website as well. And so if there are questions, hey, we stay here as long as you are connected for more questions so that we can answer them. Thank you very much. Stay safe, and hope to see you then probably next week already for an upcoming session about storage and info site updates, because also there, outside SimpliVity and dHCI, also there are a lot of things happening. So thank you for being here, Inge, as well. Everyone in
Thank
the
you for
room,
having me.
yes, thank you, and stay safe. And meanwhile, I see questions coming in already. So let's get started. On one of the slides, I noticed some recommended switch types, most of the rather high end. Would a 2930M also be sufficient for smaller deployments? Now, that's a good question. And I can ask that question to two sides. If it's for dHCI or for SimpliVity. Because for dHCI, I can say that the hardware compatibility list is rather narrow. And if you want, I can go, of course, to that slide. Yes, so that should be this one. This is the information that we got, and this is also documented. All the information, by the way, for dHCI is on infosite.hpe.com, and then in the information under the supported. And so, yes, this is rather high end. I see most of the time the small M series, so that SN2010 model. The 2930 for dHCI is not supported. Well, technically it would work, but it wouldn't make sense, because if I take a look at the 2930M, you can have four 10 gig connections in there, and you need those 10 gig connections for your Nimble array already. So where do you gonna connect your servers anyway? I'm gonna be honest. Nimble dHCI with 2 servers, you will see that the SimpliVity solution will be more economical, let's say, right? So it depends. Yeah, it depends. If the customer, of course, needs tens, hundreds of terabytes, at that moment, it will be like that. But the problem with the 2930 is not the performance, but it's more about the number of ports available. Whereas SimpliVity, I have a lot of SimpliVity deployments with the 2930M, but definitely we need to take a look at the number of available ports that are available on that switch and how many ports that you need for your nodes or your Nimble or your compute nodes connected to that Nimble, right? So also, we always take a look with the team. What's interesting at that moment in time on pricing, because I also know on those switches this month one is more expensive, but then the next month there is a promotion on it, and so that switch will be cheaper. So I always challenge you, my colleagues, Wim, Christophe, Steven from the team. They are experts in part numbers and the best prices at which moment in time. Yeah, so I always challenge them as well. Which switch do I need to take? Now, this is for dHCI. These are the supported switches. Now, technically, if it's a small environment, because this is what we call a brownfield deployment, a new installation is a greenfield. This is greenfield. Now, if it's an existing environment where a customer already has Gen 9 server, for instance, you can add a Nimble dHCI in what we call a brownfield. And at that moment, it's we're going to talk with the experts at HPE. That will be Walter, will be Pascal, and so on. But then we can ask them, yeah, maybe why not a 2930M? But for me, the biggest challenge will be the number of ports that are available. I hope that's an answer to your question. If there are other questions, because I still see a lot of people connected. So if you have any other questions on dHCI, on Nimble, or for Inge on tech care or data center care, or what is happening about that next business day, which will become basic and essential and all the others. Even I have to get used to all these new names. So that's why we get started here, and we're gonna keep on repeating this, of course, right? Is there a link or a use case to read about having exchange on a non-replica storage? Well, is there a use case? Well, what I know is that there are some use cases, and most of the time is, well, I see Exchange having a DAG, a database availability group, or also SQL. It's most of the time, it's not the infrastructure administrator, but it's the database administrator that decides to have, instead of have SQL clustering. Already more than 20 years, we have Microsoft clustering, right? But what does it do? I have one SQL instance that has a copy here and a copy there. And so it fails over that SQL across 2 servers for high availability. But we still needed that shared storage. And since many years already with SQL and with Exchange, it is possible to have the application itself write the data to 2 different locations, and sometimes even 3 different locations, with that third copy of an email with a lag in between of a few hours to avoid or to help you with, for instance, virus infections. So if you have an application that can write that data, yeah, to multiple locations at the same time, well, that's a use case for having a single replica. I have another use case, VDI. Now in VDI, there are multiple types of VDI implementations, because you have with persistent storage and non-persistent storage. Now with non-persistent storage, what does that mean? I start up a VM, I can run my application, but if I shut down that VM and I reboot it, it always starts from a clean installation. So you lose all the user data, right? Where do you see this? For instance, also those kiosk PCs, right? Every morning you boot them up and they have a clean installation to run an application. right? Well, also those kiosk PCs that when you reboot them, non-persistent storage, well, at that moment, honestly, why do they have to be a resiliency, high availability on data, right? Honestly, I don't know, because there is no user data. It's always the same VDI. It's a golden image, right? Of course, I want to have a copy of that golden image somewhere, but you can ask yourself the question, why do I need two nodes having a copy of that VM? Because anyway, if I restart it, if I lose it and I reboot it, it's there anyway. So that could be eventually a second use case for single replica data stores. I am also honest. Today, I have no customers using this. Yeah. It's just there because sometimes there is that database administrator that says, I have already two copies of my data. Why do you have to store it as well two times? Right? Because at that moment you have four times of your copy, which has a certain price of gigabyte impact, of course, right? So that's the whole idea. I hope that's an answer to your question. And I noticed that when I'm in my pre-sale sessions, sometimes I get a customer who asks this, and then I can say, yes, we can do it with SimpliVity, and then they are happy. They don't do it, but they are happy because you can offer it, of course, as a functionality, right? Good. Other questions, guys? Please let me know if there are any other questions. And otherwise, yeah, of course, my email address, it's in the presentation. The phone number is in the presentation. Most of you I know already through my social media as well. So if you have any questions, please, you know where to find me, of course. Please let me know. And like I said, also on my blog, there are some upcoming things as well. I have an article recently about the new SimpliVity 4.1 is already on there. Also about the new AMD Gen 10 Plus servers is out there. And so now the next one that is coming will be about the SimpliVity upgrade procedure as well. Good. I see no more other questions coming. I'll stay online for a few more minutes. Thank you for being here. Stay safe, and we'll see each other soon in an upcoming virtual session, and I hope one day as well in real life, of course. Yeah.